what's up guys? Brian here, Brian's Lawn Maintenance. All right, check it out. On this video, we're gonna be talking about stand-on lawnmowers versus sit-down lawnmowers. Now, there are a lot of lawnmower brands out there. There's a lot of units out there. But what I wanted to do just for a few minutes here, and a few minutes is code on Brian's Lawn Maintenance channel for about 20. That's funny right there. Is talk to you guys about the pros and cons of each unit. Now, most of you guys know if you've been watching my channel for any length of time, I have been doing a lot of lawnmower testing and review videos on stand-on units because I wanted to try something different. With my zero turn, I already have a bagger system. This one has about 1,100 hours, but I'm in the market for a new mower because I want to keep them fresh and keep them new. So I've been looking at different stand-on mowers. Now, I would not say that I'm an expert by any way, shape, or form on stand-on mowers just yet, or even really zero turns, but I've had about 1,500 hours logged on my last mower, 1,100 on this one, and if you add up all the hours that we've logged on demos with the stand-ons, we probably got about 100 in there as well. So I know the ropes, okay? So I'm gonna go over just some of the basics here about why I think stand-on mowers are great, give you the pros and maybe some of the cons, and then same thing with zero turns, some of the pros and some of the cons. One thing I want to do right here, right now is leave a comment down below. I'd love to know your guys' thoughts on stand-on mowers or zero turn mowers, and I want to know why. Don't just say stand on, don't just say sit down. I want you guys to throw me a sentence or two down below and help out the community, help out other folks to make decisions on why you guys went with a stand on or why you guys went with a zero turn. No right or wrong answer, but do me a big favor, leave a comment, participate, and that would be a lot of fun for everyone else, especially those in the market for a new unit, so they can help decide what they want and what makes the most sense for their business. Now let's start with the stand-on units. One thing that I feel that the stand-on units have way more control over is the amount of turf damage you're gonna get with a stand-on versus a zero turn. I feel like the tires are a lot less aggressive on a stand-on versus a zero turn. Now that might just be in my opinion. I know different tires out there all work in different ways, but in my opinion, I feel like you're going to have a lot less turf damage because of the weight of a stand-on versus the weight of a zero turn. I feel like with the stand-on, with the platforms here and the extra padded seat, and by the way, you're not sitting all day, I feel like it's just a more comfortable ride. Another one that I wanted to go over with you guys with the stand-on is I feel like you're gonna get better slope control as well when you're on hills and slopes. Now, we've all taken our zero turns on hills and crazy stuff. If you haven't, you will eventually. But if you have to dismount and you have to jump off, and I'm just being serious, I'd rather do it, hit the PTO, the yellow button, and then jump off and get off the stand-on a lot quicker than what you're going to on that zero turn. You're not going to. And most of us are not keeping those ROPS bars up like we should. But in the grand scheme of things, for stability and slope control, I'm gonna go with the stand-on all day long. Now, I will also say this, with that better control, you also have better, I feel, maneuverability and vision. You can stand up on a stand-on just like this, and you can see all the way over your wheels. Now, when you're sitting down in a zero turn, for example, you can see what's in front of you, but I don't feel like you have that same visibility because look how much further this platform goes out. Now, if this was cut out and you could see through, I feel like it would be a lot better for us. But again, that's just my opinion. I feel like you're gonna get better visibility with a stander. Now, I also feel that this is a huge selling point, is the fact that you can fit multiple standers in a trailer versus comparing one or two zero turns. Most guys can run 2 or 3, if not 4 stand-on units versus 1 or 2 zero turn units in a trailer compared to stand-on units. Now, zero turns are great, but with stand-ons, what you can do is you can turn them sideways in pretty much every trailer, and with that extra savings of space, you can put an extra unit or 2 in the trailer versus maybe having to start a second route, get another truck and rig, or even reinvest in another trailer. So I think when it comes to having more space, I feel like the stand-on is the way to go. Now, outside of that, I feel like another pro for the stand-on is that you don't have to buy super expensive seats. On my zero turn, for example, this is the ISO mount seat, and this just happens to be the one on the X Mark, but they have the whole air suspension one, whatever you want to call it, air ride, and that's like $1,400. You don't have to do that with a stand-on. Now, here's one thing I'd say. If you have lower back issues, maybe use a stand-on. If you have knees and foot and your legs just ache for whatever reason, maybe you should go with the zero turn. So there's pros and cons for both sides, but I will say this, with regards to a stand-on unit, you don't have to buy some super expensive seat. You already have your suspension, you have your foam pad, and you're pretty much good to go. Another thing that goes really great with the stand-on unit versus the zero turn, and by the way, we'll have the pros for the zero turn, so I'm not just bashing, we'll get to it. But one thing that I really appreciate about the stand-on is if I need to jump off the unit, all I have to do is hit my PTO, or some of them have an auto turn off, hit my parking brake if I need to. But if I can just jump off like this, look how easy it is for me to go pick up some trash. I picked up more trash so far, and you guys will appreciate this, than I probably did in all of 2016 and 2017 combined, because I can just jump off, throw the trash in my pocket, and we're good to go. Hashtag good to go, right? All right, another thing that I will tell you guys with stand-ons is I feel like there is just so much more technology in the newer stand-ons than in the zero turns. It's kind of the old hat. It's been there, done that. There's improvements and innovation, but not as much as the stand-on units, the bigger engines, the oil systems, the front casters that pivot, that Skag's got the velocity cut deck. I just feel like there's so much more innovation with the stand-on units because it's just like the hot market right now than compared to the zero turns. Now, not that the zero turns are getting glossed over or anything like that, I just feel like there's so much technology available on these stand-on units where, you know, for what it's worth, I feel like they might be a lot of companies' priority and focuses right now, and to sell these units at what they're charging for them, they need to be on the top of their game. So that's why you're getting a lot of technology and a pretty good value package. Now, one other pro I'll give you guys, and we'll go to the zero turn, is that the price point for the most part, and trust me, sort of adding some bells and whistles and they get up there as well, but for the most part the stand-on units are a lot cheaper than a zero turn. This unit with Ferris just happens to be 10.4. The Skags were in the 9 to 10 range as well. Compared to a zero turn, it might be $10, $12, $14,000. So if you're on that budget conscious side of things, which, let's be honest, after $10, $12,000 it all kind of goes out the window, you know, the standards might be a little bit easier to break into initially than those big zero turns. But all that comes with, you know, the territory of you might have some limited capacity on the standard versus the zero turn. So let's get into that right now. One thing I will say is that with the zero turns, you can cover, in my opinion, way more grass wide open in rural areas and even in your subdivisions with a zero turn. Usually you're going to have, most of them are both going to offer 60 and 72-inch decks, but for sure on your zero turns you're going to have a 60-inch is pretty standard. Now of course you're going to have your 36 and your 32s and your 48s for gated backyards, and that's fine, but for the most part this unit is going to be for your wide open properties. This is I use this in subdivisions. We've again put 2,500 hours on this unit and the other unit combined, and you know what, there's nothing wrong with these kind of units being wide open kind of trailblazers, if that makes any sense. I just feel like you're going to cover more ground with bigger pumps, a little bit faster ground speeds, and you know what, it is a much more comfortable seat as well to be in when you are doing that. Which again, let's go to the pro side of things. If you are somebody that doesn't want to be on their feet all day and you don't like the standards, you can go with a seat like this, and if you have a couple extra bucks, you can always throw down for that $1,400 seat or whatever, you know, the other brands offer. This just happens to be an X mark, so you know what, you can get that extra comfy seat, which is always a plus. Now, one other thing that I think is one of the bigger selling points with this unit, as you guys can see here, is I have already my brackets down here, and then they bolt to the back side of this bar, is the fact that we can bag with a zero turn probably 3 or 4 times easier than a stand-on unit. Now, I know there's different brands that make aftermarket stuff for stand-on units, and that's totally fine, totally cool. But for the most part, with your leaf collection and doing your leaf and fall cleanups, spring and fall cleanups, you're gonna want a bagging system. Zero turns for the most part are where it's at. Now, not that standards don't have bagger systems, because they have those chute catchers, like those steel bins and the metal bins and even plastic bins. But honestly, you're not going to be able to put very much volume in that. Maybe like 1 or 2 yard bags worth of waste. Now, I might be wrong, but I've never used a leaf bagger system with a stand-on, because with the volume of leaves that I'm picking up, my zero turn, we have to do 4 or 5, 6 rounds of leaves and dumping it, or just to get it curbside, or if we're hauling it away. And that kind of capacity and volume, I just don't see it being realistic with a stand-on. Now, not that you can't do it, but if you're going to get into heavy cleanups and all that kind of stuff, you're definitely going to want the zero turns with the big bagger system. Obviously, it's not spring right now, so I don't have mine on. But you know what, for 3,000 bucks, at least that you have room to expand with this unit versus maybe a stand-on, which you're going to be limited to because you can't really put a bagger system on these guys, if that makes sense. Now, another thing that I really like about the zero turn, as you guys can see here, is the fact that I can feather the deck. Okay, so let's drop it really quick right here. With the zero turn, you're going to be feathering the deck way more than a zero turn. I know they got their lever systems here, and you can pull this up. But honestly, when you're going through trees and you're on the boulevard, whether it's this lever on a Ferris or the lever on the other side is a Skag, I'm 10 times less likely that I'm going to have the time or remember or the quickness, the instantaneousness as a zero turn, when all I got to do is put my foot on the lever, pop up the deck. I don't scalp anything. I don't hit a softball, I don't hit a baseball and shoot it into somebody's yard or window, which is even worse. Now, this is the last point on this video, but I know there's other stuff that I'm leaving out. So do me a favor, leave a comment down below on the what do you guys prefer, standard or zero turn. Let me know what else you guys have as other pros and cons versus the two units, because there's definitely stuff I'm going to leave out. This is just my quick list for you guys, the stuff that I've been thinking about the last week or two while I've been demoing the stand-on. But here's one other thing that I really appreciate about a stand-on is that you have the ability to wear shorts for the most part with a stander versus wearing shorts with a zero turn. Now, can you do it? Yes. But if you guys know how a zero turn works, that grass is going to kind of go up and then into your legs, and you're going to have grass in your butts. And you know what? If you've used a zero turn before, you know what I'm talking about. With a stand-on unit, obviously you got this wall here. Not a lot of grass is going to go through the unit. Some of them are ventilated. But in this capacity right here, you can wear shorts all day. Now, do I recommend shorts? No, but you're eventually going to get those 95-degree days with 100% humidity, and you're going to be glad that you were wearing some shorts. Now, be safe out there. Wear work boots, wear Cujos, wear some nice thick shoes and boots, but don't just be out there in basketball shorts looking unprofessional. But if you had to wear shorts, I actually don't wear any shorts when I'm using my zero turn because the grass just goes right up my thigh. It gets into the roos, and you know, it's just super uncomfortable, and I can't stand it personally. I know everybody's different, but at least you can wear shorts and have some breathability with the stand-on versus the zero turn. So all things being said, I feel like the zero turn is great for your rural properties, your subdivisions that have bigger properties and where it's a little bit more wide open. I feel like your stand-on unit is going to be great for those smaller properties, gated backyards, even subdivision lawns where you need a little bit more flexibility and wiggle room and maneuverability with a stand-on. This right here is for blazing wide open acreage, I feel. And you know, with the zero turn, maybe a little bit more for subdivision style lawns. But I will say this, just because you have a stand-on doesn't mean, and you're going to be cutting subdivision style lawns, doesn't mean you need a small unit like a 36 or a 48. This is a 61, and we've put our through all of our lawns in the last week, twice, 2 weeks, we've had the unit now. And you know what? This is a 61 cutting deck for this Ferris, for example, and it was totally fine, totally maneuverable in subdivisions. And in fact, there wasn't really any difference for me personally with getting done sooner with either unit. So I feel like this is just as productive as the zero turn. So that's why I say don't rule either one out. Figure out what makes sense for you guys. All things being said, that's my short, hopefully in-depth, comprehensive list. I guarantee you there's stuff that I've left off. They both have chute blockers, which is a benefit. They both have some great engines. They both have some great cutting size decks. So all things being said, I don't think you can go wrong with either unit. It's just you got to kind of figure out that personal preference and figure out what makes the most sense for you guys. So all right, that's it. That's my short, in-depth one on stand-on versus sit-down mower. Definitely leave me a comment down below. Which one do you guys prefer and why? And the reason I ask why is because that can help other folks out in the community, like I was saying at the beginning, decide on what unit makes the most sense for them. Now, I know everybody's got their own brand. I don't want to get into a brand battle here, but leave me a comment down below. Stand-on versus sit-down. Which one you guys prefer? And that's pretty much it. All right, guys, over and out. Brian here, Brian's Lawn Maintenance. Just another video of me being a weirdo in the back parking lot, hanging out with all of you guys. All right, I do these videos to help you guys out, help you with your lawn and landscape business. If you enjoy it, definitely subscribe to the channel. I appreciate the support. If you like the video, shoot a big thumbs up. It's super appreciated as well, and it definitely goes a long way. So, all right, guys, that's it. Over and out. Brian here, Brian's Lawn Maintenance. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.